Good afternoon, class, Professor Burkle. I just want to talk about, for just a brief moment, the topic that I chose. And the topic that I chose is time. Is time real? And one thing is for certain is that we all are accustomed to what time is and how it is used and measured. When time was created, as far as what we know time to be, it was only used just so that farmers and those who dealt with working was able to measure the seasons, as well as understanding of work, meaning that you will work from when the sun comes up until the sun comes down. And in Middle Ages, in even in ancient Egyptian artifacts, depict the fact that when time was being used with a sundial, that the evening was for family. It was for it was a concept that was used primarily for socialization. And so when you begin to look at what we consider time to be right now, you'll find that it's oftentimes something that we seem to try to attain, but never have the ability to get it. And what I mean by that is, when you get up in the morning, we all, and I know I've said it, I've heard many other people say this, is that there's not enough time in the day. Corporations build major conferences and teachings on time management. But when you really begin to look at the concept of what we consider time, you'll begin to look at it and say that actually we don't not only not manage our time wisely, but it really does not exist. Military teaches, if you're in formation at 0600 hours, if that's what you're supposed to be in formation, you're already late. Businesses, when you go into corporate America, the one thing that they are looking for are those who are able to come early and leave late. When you are given deadlines, as much as it is a measurement of how much time you have to get an assignment done, most often than not, if you do not do it early, you'll end up doing it late. And so when we begin to look at what is the concept of time, we'll begin to understand and we'll begin to look at the fact that what is time is really something that hinders us more than helps. Time does not really exist. For if we try to measure our day 24 hours, the time actually slips away from you. When it's, for instance, you go to a party, and while you're at the party, you're enjoying yourself. You never look at your watch, but you enjoy the moment. And so this video cast is to share with us, share with the class, share with you, professor, that as we begin to live our lives, that no matter how many pictures that we take, no matter how many videos that we record, trying to capture the moment in which we are in, we'll never be able to fully capture the emotion that is within that particular time frame. And so when you look, when oftentimes when we take those pictures, we record those videos, it is oftentimes never even looked at again. I have thousands of pictures that I've taken, beautiful pictures of my wife, of our children, different events of our life, the christening of my daughter and my son. And the funny thing is that we never look at those pictures again. It's funny that we only really begin to reminisce, look at pictures, look at videos, look at the times that we've had, is in times of sadness, times of depression, times of loneliness. But if we really just embrace that moment, you'll create stories, you'll create memories that will last well longer than any picture that you could ever take. Those stories will live on through children and through generations. And so as I began to look at this personally for myself, I began to understand that I spend so much time trying to depict every second, every minute that I need to do a certain task, that I oftentimes overlook the most precious moments. The moments of hearing my daughter when she first started speaking, seeing my son walking. When we look at time, we're saying, okay, I have this much time so that I can go to work, and so I can bring home the bacon, so that I can make sure that I get my kids to whatever recital or practice. But the whole time while you're at those events, you're thinking about something else. You're not living in the moment. And I believe that as I began to even study this, and I began to look at different web pages, because I'm not able to leave my home at this present time. So I began to just use the information that I have beyond Google, began to look at LinkedIn, to look at those who are professionals in human resource management, who are who their career is geared toward making sure that employees are managing their time. Managers are making sure that they're getting full production out of their their employees. Looking at those who try to help parents and those who are dealing with divorce and separation, and children having to go from one home to the next. When you really begin to look at it, the one thing that is most impactful is the time when you're there. And so when I begin to say time, I'm not looking at so much as numbers, but looking actually at the space that you have dedicated to whatever action or whatever activity is going on. When you go to the park, leave your phone in the car and just enjoy your family. Don't try to capture every moment all the time. Because when you begin to really just enjoy them, you'll begin to find new things, discover new things about people who you thought you knew, but they become like the perfect stranger. I had to do this even in my marriage. For those who in my class, who are in the class, who are married, I spent so much time wasting time doing things that I thought we needed, that I neglected my wife, and because of that, it began to cause friction. But the moment I began to live in the moment and not try to compartmentalize everything and make sure that it fits in a certain time frame, but just allow the moment to be, was the moment that I began to discover a newness within her. I've counseled many women, marriages, singles, and the one thing that they ask for is for the person to just be in the moment. Not always scheduling everything, but just being spontaneous, keeping the excitement. So if I can say anything, if I could summarize this whole video, I would say this: just live in the moment. Don't worry about the numbers on your watch, on your computer, your laptop, your iPads, your tablets. Don't even worry about that, but just live in that moment, because time really doesn't exist. If you really begin to look at that time, you'll begin to look at those numbers. You'll find yourself always going backwards instead of going forward. Finally, I worked in a call center, and in order for us to maintain a certain level of customer service, we put a penny over the clock that was on our monitor, so that we wasn't always constantly looking at the clock, because the more we looked at the clock, the worse we treated people. So just think, if you put your phone down, if you stop looking at your watch, stop trying to measure everything in a certain time frame, how much better we would treat each other, how much more we could love, how much more could we enjoy our lives. Thank you for this opportunity. Professor Burkle, I do apologize for not having anyone hear my